you guys even doing? What are you guys even doing? 2 minutes late to the show. What's going on? Failure to Stop. It's Friday Breakdown. This is the #1 channel. Not acting like it this morning, but we are the #1 channel where first responders go to be informed and most importantly, entertained 5 days a week. And today you found yourself, if you're stumbling in for the first time, on our Friday Breakdowns, which you do every Friday. Today we're breaking down a couple of cops who, well, just like us, maybe not being as professional as they could be or as they usually are. But all this and more on today's Failure to Stop Breakdown. Hit it, Joshua.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
I'm not late, you're late. No, it ain't me, it's you. Hey, you're the problem, it's you. All right. It's out of my system. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the First Stop Podcast, brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack and factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Joined today and every Friday with Tyler from the Anti-Hero Podcast, the podcast where a Delta Force operator and current law enforcement officer go head-to-head with some of the industry's craziest celebrities. Cops turn porn stars, Rob O'Neill scandals, you name it. They have Ruby Ridge. They did, what do y'all just did? Waco. You guys got all sorts of stuff. It's the Anti-Hero Podcast. Check them out wherever you listen to audio podcasts. But he's with us every Friday, sometimes on Wednesdays, to help us break down these crazy police cases in the news. Anti-Hero Tyler, I have a surprise for you this morning. I don't normally wake up feeling gracious, but this morning I did feel gracious. You and I had an argument before a Patreon episode that I did last week with anti-TikTok cop. I did a Patreon. You didn't want anything to do with it because you don't like cops who are too quote unquote cowardly to share their face. Is that correct?
I saw last night. I saw people were posting RIPs.
All right, hold on. Here we go. Let's post it up. Let's see why it's an RIP. I did this just for you.
You know, when I first started figuring out all of this, I was so embarrassed. Like, I did not even want to talk to anybody about it. You know, I was like in my room crying about it because my feelings were so crushed. Like, I was just like, I cannot believe this medium ugly man right now with this crawfish tail of a wiener just hurt my feelings. Like, but no, you guys are funny as hell. You guys are making me laugh all day long, and I'm like so thankful for that. Thank you for having my back. Literally, thank you for having my back. But no, I love you all, and I'm glad that I was able to make up with people that I thought had beef with me because of anti-TikTok cops. So I just want to say thank you. Love y'all.
All right, hang on. There's going to be a couple of
RIP.
RIP. I'll read you the memes. First one says, I can't even catch air in my lungs right now. It's a TikTok cop guy. This is another girl saying that she was a victim of the same dick pics and she's sorry. And it just goes on. Lots of other women coming out and like a bunch of other anti-TikTok cop memes. So I guess if you're going to run a meme page and then allegedly send dick pics to other women on the interwebs while you are allegedly engaged, I don't know the whole story. I wasn't able to get his side of the story. I texted him. I called him. He didn't respond to my call. But I'm guessing that would be a good reason why never to out yourself or your real name while running a meme page if you're going to be doing things like that.
Was he on the Patreon?
Good morning. Yeah.
Oh man,
it was a good episode.
I gotta watch that or listen to it.
Yeah, and so like the cops been trying to get up with him. Dexter Pitts is trying to get up with him. We're all worried about him. And then I see this come across the interwebs and I'm like, no, because I was like legit about to, try to do some like crazy research because, I didn't know maybe the dude like committed suicide or he died or something crazy happened because we did the episode, which he didn't want to do. I've been trying to get that episode on Patreon for months, but he's like, dude, I'm really not about that. I don't want to do the cloud stuff. And I was like, look, dude, I won't out you. I won't say who you are. Like, I just want to get on there and learn more about, like, I just want to make fun of dancing TikTok cops because I'm super anti-TikTok dancing TikTok cops. I think it'd be really fun. And he's like, man, I don't want to get fired from my job either. So, but finally he agreed to do the Patreon, the paid membership site. So it's still up. I'm not going to take it down. I don't take anything down for any reason. So if you want to join our Patreon, it's like $3 a month. It goes to support all of this, but you can hear that episode. And then Mike the Cop was like, dude, I heard the Patreon episode. I want to get him on with my stuff, and I'm going to reach out to him, but I can't get a hold of him. Do you have a cell phone number? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll give it to you. And he's like, it's going straight to voicemail. I'm like, dude, it's going straight to voicemail for me too. I sent him like all these messages, nothing. And I'm like, dude, I'm like legit worried about him. And then this morning that comes across my feed. Thanks to our amazing producer, Deadleg Media. He's the one that founded our fact checker, which is exactly what we pay him to do, is find shit out for us. So
who posted that?
Josh, do you know who posted that? I can't read that.
Barely, yeah, I can't read it.
Name?
It was a compilation of
Red Bunny.
Law XO. So I think she was dating him, or they were, from what I'm understanding, but I'm not 100%.
All right, so she's in South GLA. Is that, what the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
Retired EMT.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, that's her first problem, because like if she's an EMT and she's got tattoos like that, she's a freak. You know what I mean? Like,
and she's trouble.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, she's probably a cool person. Like, she looks like a cool person, but I mean, she also looks like the type that's going to cause mad drama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to know that if you're sending D-pics to a former EMS person with tattoos like that and looks, she's a pretty girl, and she dressed, there's a stereotype there. You got to know that it's going to end bad for you. You're better than that. You're a cop, right? Like, you got to know.
Dude, can you imagine if he actually, okay, this is dark, but this is our show.
Okay.
This is our content that we create. Can you imagine if he did kill himself? We'd never know. We'd be none the wiser. You know what I'm saying? It's just like one of those things.
And then do we count it as like one of these, like, does it go on the social media bullying suicide charts, or does it go on the police stress suicide charts? I don't even know if he's a veteran. Does it go on the 22 veterans a day charts? Like, who gets credit for that suicide?
Man, that's crazy. Because I saw that last night and I was like, I wonder, somebody posted it and I'm like, I wonder why he would just quit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You gotta be, but I guess that makes sense. And I have to say, you're right that when you have an account that you won't disclose your real name and your news, you're probably up to more nefarious activity than what's on the surface, or else you're just like a coward. You're a scared little bitch. It's like those people who don't allow you to tag them in a comment, but they'll leave like a scathing comment on one of your things, but you can't comment back. Like, what a pussy. There needs to be a special place in schools for those types of people to be bullied and harassed. Like, they earn it.
I hate, and you know it every time too. When you go to reply, you're like, this motherfucker is going to say can't reply, and you'll type your whole thing out and you'll hit it, and this person does not allow replies or tags, and I'm like, it's only those people.
Yeah. Are you guys getting any feedback from me having this play through speakers this morning? I don't have headphones on, so just want to make sure the audio is good for today's show. We are breaking down the state showdown, police officers versus sheriff's deputies out in Joshua. What was this county? Lexington County, I believe it was.
Cleveland
Oklahoma.
County, Oklahoma. Cleveland County and the Lexington Police Department.
Yeah. And those in the chats, I want to give a huge thank you so much. Listen, 99% of our listenership comes from audio, but there's a bunch of people in the paid chat today, some paid members even out there. Let me get to them. Lumber Chef, Will Cray. We've got Loren up in the chat. Sent me a great picture of him in his underwear this week, because we were doing a contest of your best pantsless photo. And that was coming off of our last call show. So thank you for that. Will Cray also sent a pantsless picture, but I'm not sure that he didn't send that. He just sent it anyway. We got Mur 530, Bosco, Armory Knight. There's a bunch of people in the chats, man. We really appreciate you guys. Reginald Rutherford. Thank you guys so much. Deadleg, I prefer Rumble because I can turn off my screen, save my battery. Yeah, we are also on Rumble. So thank you guys. Spotify, iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating and review. If you're on the YouTubes this morning live, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like button and share this. Share it. I don't care if you have 5 followers, 6 followers, 10 followers. Share it on your Facebook. It helps us. We really like to hit 100,000 downloads a month. on the show 100,000 listens. Sometimes we're at 80,000, sometimes we're at 110,000, but our goal is always 100,000 minimum a month. So every one listen helps and it leads to another. So yeah, here we go. Let's jump into this. No, listen, before we jump into this, I'm so sorry. We're going to do a special Patreon episode following this show. Again, our Patreon's $3 a month. We do 5 free shows a week. So I don't want to hear any of the garbage about like, oh, well, you guys always trying to push your Patreon. We do 5 free shows a week, guys. 5 free shows a week. I at least earn the right to push a $3 Patreon. You guys will tip $3 on a carry-out pizza, for frick's sakes. Like, you guys go pick up your own pizza. It's not even delivery, and you still tip. Oh, we're asking for $3 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee at your local commie coffee shop. So, you know, listen, go over there. There's tons of extra content. We try to make it super entertaining over there. There's lots of other guests and hosts over on that thing, but we're going to do a Patreon today because there's super big breaking news about Biden being too old and forgetful to testify in court. And so the charges against his classified documents were dropped, which we all knew that was coming. We knew that those charges were going to get dropped. No president is going to take that on the chin. But the special counsel released, Robert Hur, effectively told President Joe Biden, quote, he won't be charged for keeping classified documents because he's too old and senile. He says that a jury, listen, I'll just read it. Hur writes that Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials, but that a jury would be sensitive to an elderly man with a poor memory. The president did not remember when he was vice president, Hur writes, and could not remember even within several years when his son Beau died. What is more, his memory appeared hazy when describing the Afghanistan debate that was once so important to him. I'm not going to get into my opinion on this. I'm not going to get into it anymore. If you are part of our Patreon at 12:30, we're going to be diving down into all of this on the Patreon. And I think Conservative Anthony is going to join me this afternoon and dead leg on that. So head over to the Patreon. It's Failure to Stop Patreon. Josh will put it up here on the screen for you guys and a little link, and you guys can go and be part of our Patreon. We would really appreciate it. Matter of fact, most of that money on Patreon actually goes to Josh. So that's part of his paycheck, is the majority of that money. So if you want to see Josh and his dead leg be successful and thrive in life, then join the Patreon. So, all right, today's big story, though, is Sooner State Showdown Police versus the Sheriff's Deputies in Oklahoma. Now, interesting enough about this, Tyler, is that Lexington actually sits right in the middle of the twister belt, the tornado belt from all the movies. Do you know that?
Oh, really? No, I did not know that.
Yep.
Tornado Alley.
Tornado Alley. Yep.
Which is horrifying. I don't know why anybody would move out there. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. Not only is it crazy that people move out there, but people move out there into a trailer.
It's not going to happen to me.
Right? I don't know. That seems ridiculous to me, but you know, I guess that's why you live in the middle of the country, because you're not the brightest person in the world. So anyway, kudos to them.
These people seemed, I don't want to be insensitive or insulting, but you know, when you're watching something in a video and you're like, I can probably pick what part of the country these people are from just by listening to them talk.
I don't want to be insulting, but
these guys,
you can always tell how retarded somebody is.
This wasn't fucking LAPD out there. This was something.
Now, look, you just part of a SWAT roundup shooting thing, and I guess there was another country sent an all-women SWAT team out there. Do you think the all-women SWAT team? First of all, which country was it from?
Josh, it was a South American country.
I believe it was Colombia.
So they sent an all-women's SWAT team to the SWAT roundup to compete. How did they do?
So it was some kind of SWAT roundup-esque thing. It wasn't in Orlando, but
okay.
So I mean, okay. Let's figure out how we're gonna say this. So you send all of one demographic of something to prove a point, you're gonna get the results of said demographic. So they sent a team full of all female SWAT people, right? SWAT personnel. Now,
right.
There's always the outlier. So everybody can probably agree. Not every female body is built for SWAT. Not every female is capable of doing SWAT things. However, there's outliers of women that can do it. You ever seen the firefighter women? There's one out of a million firefighters that's a woman, and she's jacked, and she's probably a better firefighter than most of the dudes physically. However, they're called outliers. So when we analyze data, we don't count outliers because they make no fucking sense because they're weird. We count everything else. So the argument that, well, there's this one female, like, you can't use that argument. That being said, there's tons of teams with one female on them because that female just broke ground and passed everything, and she does well according to that team's chain of command. This was a team, a small fraction of a team that consisted of all females. So they start obstacle number 1, which is a very common obstacle in SWAT competitions, right? So they start running, and this could be argued as pure body weight that you have to use to get along.
Oh my God. That's number 1. That's obstacle number 1.
That's obstacle number 1, baby.
And somebody says that in the chats, Jarrett Ballness. Oh, I hope that's not his real last name. Sorry, Jarrett Ballness. Huh. Boy, you probably were so bullied in high school, and I mean, I'm glad I'm mature and an adult enough to not make fun of a name like that. Don't worry, I had it too, dude. They called me Tansy Pansy. So, but he says the female SWAT team was from Chile. Armory Knight says that they prove why they suck harder than a 12-year-old on Epstein's Island. Oh, brutal. But I like it. I like that dark humor. I like. Speaking of which, before we jump into this, I'm so glad like dark humor is back. I was like looking at this tweet. And there's this black dude wrote like racism is quickly disappearing or something like that. It said like, so thankful that racism is quickly disappearing in this country, you know, something like that. And then this white kid that looks like a teenager said, no, it's not, N-word. And then the black dude laughing emojis. And then the white dude put like a white fist and a black fist like bumping. And then they both put like laughing emojis. And I'm like, dude, that's it. Racism is dead. Like now we're all making good, funny jokes. So it was nice to see that. So I like the dark humor if you can't tell.
Well, I mean, look at, I mean, you were in the military, right?
Yeah.
What went on behind closed doors in a melting pot of which is a military unit? You got guys from fucking everywhere across the country, all different races, creeds, and the fucking shit that you would say because it's just funny. They know you're not racist. You know you're not racist, but you can't come out into the normal world and say that shit, especially online. Yeah, because other people want to be offended for them.
Oh yeah, super funny. I think wokeism is dead. I've been saying it for a while. I think it's dead. All the dark humor is coming back, and it's been really funny. All right. So, what do you think now? Since we talked about this female SWAT team, which again, if you're from another country and you're sitting in an all-female SWAT team, like they better be roided up. They better be like on all the testosterone, on all the things, so that they are like legit.
I guarantee you that's the last time. Laughing stock. That's the last time a fucking team sends all females anywhere. I mean,
well, remember the all-female firefighting school that started all the fires in Canada?
No.
Burned like millions of acres this last year. Yeah, you know all that smoke that was going into New York?
Yeah.
Like the majority of that smoke was actually caused, and they tried to bury it. This is real news. We did a whole story on it. It was a female gay LGBTQ fire academy camp for women and women that are LGBTQ plus whatever. And they started a fire and they could not get it out, and it burned like over 1 million acres or something like that. I don't quite remember all the facts on that case. Yeah, here it is. Burning down barriers. Female firefighters conference causes out of control forest fire. Let me put that up on my big screen so I can read it. I got this whole new monitoring thing in here, and I forget that I have it. Well, how many acres was it that they burned down, Josh? Keep scrolling here. Man, this was such a great article. We did a really great thing on that. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to go through it right now, but they burned down a shit ton of forest. And that was like a big part of all that smoke that was in New York this last year. And they were trying to push it off on some other bullshit. And they started some fires like closer to New York so that they could like not have that as their main news, because Canada, like the United States, is kind of king of propaganda under Trudeau's regime. Josh, I just lost all of my my tabs. So the Oklahoma City one. Can we bring up the Oklahoma City feud real quick?
So keeping it in the spirit of SWAT, this was a SWAT call out. Kind of looked like a more of a lynching than a SWAT call out. But
well, I tell you what, let's just play the video. We can play the video. I don't need a tab to play the video, and while the video plays, I can find the tab. Yeah, this is a great place to start it, by the way.
30 miles per hour over the speed limit. The sheriff was in an unmarked car. Hello. With no lights or sirens.
Sheriff Amason, I'm going to SWAT call out. Okay, sir, this Polio, could you do an 85 and a 55? I was going where? Call out. Where we going? SWAT call out right over here. I didn't know we had one.
I didn't know we had a SWAT call, said the police officer.
We have an armed guy barricaded in the house. Used to be a police officer. And where at? Right down here on. Here in Lexington? Yeah. We have an armed person we don't know about. Okay, I'll call our chief and let him know. 301 next. According to the Cleveland County Sheriff, we have a hostage situation at that location.
The police officer heads to the hostage situation. 4 minutes later, other police have arrived, including Police Chief Ronnie Johnson, just in front of the cop recording this body camera video. The police officers, including Chief Johnson, are bewildered and angry.
Where's Captain Tom? Captain Hawk. Yeah. Where's Captain? What's going on?
Dude, I would pop that motherfucker right in the mouth for touching me like that. This cop, the body worn cameras cop, he is that cop. This guy is fucking power hungry. The fact that he knew he pulled over that sheriff. Look how small this fucking town is. He knows that sheriff's car. He pulls over the sheriff. Even if he didn't know, he looks inside. Instead of going, "Oh, my bad, sheriff," he goes, "Oh yeah, well, yeah." He's trying to police the police. Then he grabs dad. He goes to the call, and then he pushes somebody out of the way so he can go up there with his chief. Fuck that motherfucker, dude.
This is a crazy case. Now, for those of you who are our audio listeners and you're just tuning in for the first time, we do play these videos on the YouTube, so you can go over to YouTube and watch it. And usually we make reels on our Instagram. But these guys are in Lexington, Oklahoma, which is super, super tiny. Josh, I think, looked it up earlier. I don't remember like what the exact size of it is, but this looks like probably every cop in Lexington is there. Now, the chief of police is wearing a blue button-down dress shirt, just a standard baby blue or North Carolina Tar Heel blue dress shirt with a black dress vest, like a suit vest, a black cowboy hat, and a very flamboyant tie with a goatee. Now, if I were in Raleigh, I would say that this dude is going to the Bulge nightclub for some backdoor action, but maybe this is typical to Oklahoma. And he's going to come in there, and he looks like, remember Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh, yeah. What's the sheriff's name in that?
Roscoe and I forgot. Bosco Autry, I'm sure would know. But anyway, he kind of looks like the mayor or sheriff or whatever the guy was in Dukes of Hazzard. So, and now he comes in just like super, super unprofessional. And this is something I don't understand. how it escalates. Why does the sheriff think that he needs to go up to a whole SWAT team? By the way, there's a barricaded subject, and I'm assuming this is a violent barricaded subject.
Well,
do we know?
Where would the subject be? They're not even near a neighborhood. They're just near giant mounds of fucking rock.
Yeah, let me read. This is coming from the Daily Mail. The altercation was sparked after a Lexington police officer pulled over Cleveland County Sheriff Chris Amason earlier this week, unaware that he was on his way to defuse a standoff situation. In the footage, Amason said that he was heading to a SWAT call. Lexington police allege Amason was speeding in an unmarked car without lights and sirens. I think he was going 85 and a 55. Quote, "I know I was going to a SWAT call out," Sheriff Amason said, to which the officer remarked that he didn't know of any call. Now, let's just stop there real quick. We'll come back to it. But I have pulled over many times a police officer in a marked, unmarked vehicle. I've never pulled a cop over in a marked vehicle, but I have pulled over police in an unmarked vehicle and approached the vehicle, and they have said, "Hey, yeah, dude, listen, I'm working this case. I'm trying to get over here." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no worries, man. Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way, man. Just I didn't recognize the car, and have fun, be safe. Do you need me to go with you? Do you need me to follow you? Do you want me to follow you? License sirens? Are you trying to stay covert?" "No, man, we're good. We'll slow it down a little bit, but yeah, we got to get over there. We're about to do a warrant service on such and such house." "Yeah, no problem. If you guys need anything, and I'm 424 David, hit me up." I mean, is that how you go about those kind of sitches?
Yeah, I mean, I've pulled over 2 unmarked patrol cars. One of which, I mean, cops are just so fucking weird. They never do. You never get both of them doing the same mindset that you just had. Like respectful. Like, I'm not gonna challenge you. You are a lawman. You have a badge and a fucking gun. The people trust you to shoot people if you need to, right? When those 2 people come together and they don't know each other, it needs to be very cordial and professional and respectful, but you always get the one guy. I pulled over this one and I guess he was hitting his back lights. Well, I thought my front lights were reflecting out off his back window. And I'm like, why is this motherfucker pulled over? It's some shitty Impala. And I pull him over and he fucking throws the thing out. He starts screaming at me. And so of course I started screaming at him, because I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? You know, and it was a mess. All you had to do is just like you said, "Hey man, hey, I'm going here." I would have been the first one to be like, "Deuces, have fun."
Yeah, I don't want any part of it. I got cut off by a car and then flicked off by the same car. And like you said, it was like, this was a shitty Eclipse, like a 2-seater, like 1996 Eclipse. And big middle finger goes out the window. And I'm like, what is this car's problem? You know, and it's like, yeah, it's a meth head car, right? Like a 96 Eclipse, like you automatically in your brain think meth. And so I jump behind it. It weaves over a lane, and I weave over a lane. No, you know, it doesn't use its blinker. And I'm like, "Got you, bitch." And I pull it over, and I'm just expecting like some meth head to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And like they have their badges hanging out the window. And I was like, "Oh, nice." But I didn't even know who those guys were. And they're like, he's like, "You thought you were getting like, you thought you were getting, the car of the century, didn't you?" And I was like, I just assumed that you guys were some meth heads that, I don't know, we're trying to fuck around with the police, and I was going to fuck around back. But, I didn't even know those guys and didn't care. I never even asked them their names. They could have been not even real cops. They could have been
my buddy James, I follow his protocols, and you know what? A lot of people might not disagree with this, but he told me, as soon as I see a badge on a traffic stop, my traffic stop is done. And that resonated with me. I didn't realize that's how I work. That's how I operate. But there's a reason for that, because of our culture and our brotherhood, and you know, everyone's out to fucking get you. The last thing you need is the common street cop out to get you too. Like, I don't, if I have to, that's a different story. If I'm forced to,
but like, you're also not the same. You probably treat civilians the same way. Like, you're not nickel and diming civilians either. You know, people will be like, "Well, you know, that's not even fair because you'll give me a ticket for registration." How many registration tickets did I ever, like, unless your shit was like 2 years expired and you had like other nefarious shit going on in your car, like you didn't have a license or your insurance wasn't, that's the only time I wrote bullshit tickets like that. So I gave civilians the the same break that I gave cops. But yeah, you're right, dude. If it was a cop with a badge, if it was a, they had the medical badges up on the windshield, like the little ID cards that show that they work at the local hospital, or, maybe they even have like their little nameplate on that says such and such elementary school. I'm not screwing around with anybody that's a public servant. I just, I might tell you to slow it down, or I might give you a little, oh, you know what I mean? I'm watching you, type deal. But I leave them alone for the most part. Now I got pulled over by, 2 state troopers, one when I was a cop, one when I just first quit being a cop, and that's probably why I hate state troopers so much. And but I was on my motorcycle and I was splitting the lane in the heavy, thick traffic to get off on an exit, which is legal in most states.
I didn't know.
And this dude, not only did he pull me over for it, but he chewed my ass and yelled at me. And then he finds out I'm a cop, and he's like, "You should know better. And who's your supervisor?" And I'm like, "Look, I wasn't being reckless. Like, I mean, this, a motorcycle is different than a car. Why do I need to sit behind all of these cars sucking in all their exhaust and their fumes when my motorcycle fits very comfortably right between all of them? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I ride a motorcycle. It saves on gas. It's better for the environment. I should get extra perks. And that's why it's legal in a whole bunch of states in the United States. But not only, and he could have just been like, "Hey man, it's not legal here," but he didn't. He yelled at me. He was like, "You know better, blah, 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 blah." And I wanted to be like, "Go fuck yourself." But I was like, "All right, hey man, like, my apologies. If you want to write me a ticket, go ahead." And he didn't call my supervisor, but, I thought to myself though, even when I pull people over, I didn't give them an ass chewing.
No, I mean, you're not their parent. You're a lawman. That's it. Like, you're not there to make, if it was a kid, I get it, like giving them the stern lecture rather than writing a ticket.
Right.
But a grown ass person, dude, it's not my responsibility, nor do I think anybody wants to hear me lecture them. They're going to do what they want to do. If I'm going to cite them for it, which I probably wouldn't, because I haven't written a citation in like 7 years, but that's my call. You're just enforcing the law. But for people to take shit so personally, especially like there's the street cops trying to police each other. Like, we have IA for that. We have investigations that police the police, which we need. We have to have IAs, right? But we don't need the common street cop out there trying to police the common street cop. That's just my opinion. They don't have the training or the culture background to do that in a fair light. It's going to be a biased personal attack. And then, of course, you're going to get a retaliation because it's done in the heat of the moment. That's why IA, they let you decide the terms. They let you pick when you're doing it, what's best for you. They want it to be a comfortable environment where you can conduct yourself accordingly when you're accused of something, rather than in the fucking, like, about to pull your gun on a bad guy, or you're driving somewhere hot and then some asshole cop wants to intervene and give you their lecture on how they think you should do shit. Go fuck yourself. What's my new favorite?
Yeah, Armory Knight in the chat says, if you're doing wrong, you should be held to the same standards as everyone else. And I'm not going to totally disagree on that, but I'd also say that cops do have a different standard, and so do nurses, in my opinion. And here's why I say that, because, and I'll tell this is a fun story, but our city was plagued with bank robberies for like a year. We had like a record number of bank robberies. Banks were getting hit with notes like, "Give us your money," and the word spreads. Like, when one neighborhood gets one car theft and the word gets out, then all the car thieves come to that neighborhood and start going through the cars. And we just so happened to have a season of bank robberies. So a policy was made that if there's a bank robbery, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, because a lot of times, like 90% of your bank calls are going to be false alarms. So if there is a bank call, a bank alarm, didn't matter where you were in the city, you must respond lights and sirens until you are, in our district, it was called 1022. And then you were disregarded from the call. So that means somebody went there because they were getting these bank robbery calls, and everybody was just kind of writing them off as, oh, it's probably just the alarm because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And I guess we had a late response. And so they just made a blanket policy that if there's a bank robbery, doesn't matter where in the city or how far you are, you will respond lights and sirens until a supervisor or somebody says all units can back it down. So I was on the opposite side of this city. and one of these stupid bank alarms go off. And now we have GPSs in our cars. We have this tracking system. So they know if you don't respond. And my friends had already been called to IA for not responding to these bullshit bank robberies that are like 45 minutes away. And I had known that information, and this bank robbery goes out again. It's like 40 minutes away. It's like on the opposite side of the city. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just trying to get to Chick-fil-A and get me my morning breakfast burrito. And so I turn on all my lights and my sirens. I do a U-turn and I start heading that way, and I'm hauling ass. I miss the Chick-fil-A, but I'm screaming down the road. And then they're like, all units can 1022. We got enough people on things. And I turn it off, and there's a Starbucks right there. So I whip into the Starbucks parking lot and I pull in there and I get out of my car. And as I'm getting out of my car, I hear, "That's it. Stay right there. Citizen's arrest. I caught you." They're on the cell phone. They're like, "This officer was using his lights and sirens to go to Starbucks." They called 911. The 911 operator's like, "I'm going to patch you over to internal affairs or to inspections," or whatever the unit was. And I did. I got called into IA, and they opened up a little investigation on me, and it was not guilty, unfounded, because I did everything within policy. They pulled the GPS, they pulled the speed, they pulled the license sirens, they pulled the time of the call and the car. But you know what? That civilian probably told 50 other civilians that they got me. They got me going lights and sirens at Starbucks, when that wasn't really the case. Also, cops, oftentimes when you see a cop speeding, more often than not, and you have to remember, these cars are GPS. These cars are audited often with random audits. So you can't just fly around unchecked in these cop cars and not think that at some point it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. If a cop is speeding, he usually can justify why he is speeding. For example, there's a domestic goes out, but the domestic goes out maybe 15 minutes from where you're at. And you know, there's 2 or 3 cops in the area. So you're going to start heading in that direction in case the call goes south. So you're kind of listening to the call. You're trying to get there in a hurry. And then you can see it's like, hey, suspect has left the scene, and you know, and then you can start to kind of back it down and slow down. So when you see cars like weaving down the road, cop cars going down the road, it's not that they necessarily need to go lights and sirens. And by the way, our lights and sirens make it more dangerous, because when we turn on our lights and sirens, civilians slam on their brakes. They whip over to the side of the road. You don't know if they're going left, they're going right, but a lot of them just stop in the middle of the fucking road. It's a lot easier if you're only going 10 or 20 miles over the speed limit and it's not even that busy, to just not even turn the things on and head in that direction. Plus, businesses and everything don't want to hear you going, woo, woo, woo.
Well, what about this? What about this? Your fucking bank robbery alarm comes out, right?
Yeah.
You're 2 minutes down the road on a major, it's 10, 11 in the morning, right? Traffic, not clogged, but traffic. When you get close to that bank, what are you doing with your equipment? You're shutting it down.
Oh, you're shutting it down because you don't want that person to run.
But you're still getting there. So a lot of times when we arrive on scene, to even maybe in the middle of the night, a burglary, right?
Yeah.
Probably 4 minutes out, I'm shutting down the siren so they can't hear me coming. I keep the lights on up until you hit the neighborhood. Then you got to turn the lights off, because those lights at night, you can see them a mile away. So, but I'm still moving pretty quick. You know, it's on me. Yeah. If I crash and I hit somebody, that's on me, right? They're going to say you should have had your emergency, but that's cop work. We're cops. We take that risk. We risk our own personal safety, and we risk our reputation and our jobs to get the bad guy, because it's in our blood. It's inherent in us.
Right. And I just kind of give the cops I always give the cops benefit of the doubt. Like if I see a cop speeding or doing something but listen, I give the citizens the same benefit of the doubt. Like I always ask, is there a reason why you're speeding? And if they can give me any excuse, almost any excuse, they get a warning. Like as long as you're like humble about it and you're like, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, you know, my daughter needs to be picked up from school and I'm just trying to get there and I was running a little late. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Just slow it down. Be careful. I don't want to see any wrecks out here. Have a good day. And I think I wrote like 18 tickets in 8 years. So I was never that guy. So of course I'm not going to, but I'm always going to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I'm especially going to give cops the benefit of the doubt that they probably got a pretty good fucking reason. I got cut off in traffic not too long ago. My dad was in the car and this dude was weaving. My dad was like, what a fucking asshole. And I was like, yeah, but I bet you he's not cutting me off just because he wants to be an asshole. I bet you either he's mad, maybe his kid's doing something fucked up and he's got to get home. Maybe his girlfriend just dumped him and he's pissed. I'm sure he's not. He might be, But he's probably driving like that for a reason. There's probably something going on, or at least I would like to think that there's something going on. And I just let them have their foot on. I don't just assume that everybody is being an asshole just because they're like, you know what, fuck all of these people. I just want to be an asshole. Sometimes they are, and maybe you pull them over and they are an asshole, and that's great. You just give them a ticket for it. But in this situation, wildly inappropriate. Go ahead and play the video, Josh. Let's keep going.
I'd like
here.
to know what's going on in my own city.
All right, stop. I'd like to know what's going on in my fucking city. Now, check this out.
Play the video.
These two dudes are like standing within like 3 inches of each other. Why are we as cops having a conversation 3 inches from each other? You can't back that off and say, hey,
Well,
man,
here,
like,
okay. These are two alpha personalities. All right. So
I don't
in
care.
this situation,
I'm an alpha. I would never have this conversation.
That's
like
what
that.
I'm saying is that this sheriff should know. If Eric, if I walked up to you and I had no idea who you are, I'm assume that if I get in your face, you're gonna shove me out of it and be like, "Bitch, what the hell are you doing?" You don't. Just
nobody's getting in my personal space. It's just not gonna happen.
I don't care about your rank. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care if you're a celebrity. When it's so disrespectful that fast, I have to act. I don't have a chance to go, I'm going to get out of here. This guy's a fucking asshole. I don't want anything to do with it. He just walked up and got in another grown man's face.
Yeah. Another cop's face. And that's probably because he didn't get a good night's sleep. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/wolfpack. 50% off. Valentine's Day right around the corner. Get your loved one that special gift. That gift that keeps on giving and giving and giving. Maybe it's a ghost bed pillow. Maybe it's the cooling sheets. Maybe it's the adjustable base. Maybe it's one of their hundreds of different styles of ghost bed mattresses that are made in the USA. They've got the Venus Williams edition. They've got the quickly healing one with all the copper stuff in there. So maybe you're an athlete. They've got the hard, medium, soft, all of it with the cooling technology. So if you get hot like they do in some in the perpetual summers of Florida, you can still stay cool while staying hard on a ghost bed this Valentine's Day. Don't spend $100 on flowers and chocolates. Spend $50 on a new ghost bed pillow with the cooling technology in it. Get the cooling sheets, 0% down, 0% financing on all the bed packages. And that's if you have Oklahoma Police Department credit. You can afford one of these bad boys. And listen, if you sleep on a ghost bed, I always say that mental wellness and mental health starts with a good night's sleep. You won't be acting like an asshole like this chief of the Lexington police who thinks he's some kind of cowboy. Go to ghostbed.com/wolfpack and get you a sleep so good it's scary. Ooh. Also, you wouldn't be that hangry and cranky if you were diving into Factor meals. Maybe you'd have a little bit more time to spend with your family, and that'd make you feel a little bit more chillax. If you had a really good, proper diet, that's where Factor Meals, meal planning to the next level, comes in. Factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Choose from hundreds of different menu items to plan your meals for the week. These are chef prepared, fresh and never frozen meals delivered directly to your front door in beautiful, nice packaging. You don't have to have Pyrex dishes, Pytex dishes, whatever they're called, Rubbermaid dishes, bad for the environment. You can't never find the lids anyway. You have to do the dishwasher, cook all the food, go to the grocery. All that takes time. It takes money. It takes gas when you could have just relied on Factor Meals, which can hook you up 3 meals a day if you're a single alpha like Tyler over here. They can hit you up with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, protein heavy, calorie conscious. You got vegan, vegetarian, keto, something for your diet. Get your meal planning under control by going to factormeals.com/Wolfpack50, 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Wolfpack50 for 50% off. All right, let's go back to this and finish it up for the day. But here we go. So you've got this just a sheriff. He's getting in the face. Now these SWAT operators, again, I have to reiterate here that these guys are about to go do something pretty fucking dangerous. I've never been to Oklahoma, but I can just tell from the short video I've seen that probably everybody in Oklahoma carries a gun of some sort. I just feel those kind of vibes. Are you getting those kind of vibes from this?
Yeah, dude. Like they look like they're on fucking Mars right now. So who knows where they're going?
Everybody's kitted up in the worst looking kit I've ever seen.
They kind of look like they look like airsofters, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like they went to the Oklahoma G.I. Joe surplus and just really hooked up their SWAT team with everything in the surplus, to include the t-shirts that say sheriff across them.
Hey man, you see that G.I. Joe's has got the new sheriff tees with the Velcro patches on the side? Now, right now they're like 75% off.
They don't know that it's because the hook and the hook Velcro is opposite, so nothing will stick to it. You still do it anyway. Their patches are falling off when they show up on scene. We all know the G.I. Joe surplus that does that. But that's what these guys all like. One dude's wearing a Vietnam booty cap that maybe he's seen Lone Survivor too many times. He's cut the brim off of it so it can look like Marcus Luttrell. Listen, I could go on all day. These dudes look like LARPers for sure. And they're probably great guys. Listen, are we even professionals if we can't make fun of each other and each other's
exactly
kit?
You know what,
when you join his Instagram handle on his kit there,
bro, when you join a SWAT team, you are subject to the most scrutiny of professionally and with your peers, because when you do something that makes you look like a fucking doofus, we're gonna call you out on it.
I mean, this looks like Super Troopers Part Trace. It looks like you have a TAC med in the background over there, who's laughing like he's like, this is fucking awesome. And then you got this meathead that's just can't get off of the potatoes and cornbread. And that's partially Nebraska, but I believe Oklahoma is close to Nebraska. So that is a corn-fed bull of a man here, and he's going to get involved pretty quickly. And I'm going to be honest with you. If that bull got in the ring, I'm not sure that I'm fighting with that bull, even though he probably has the cardio of, I don't know,
about to say, what do you think the fucking PT test run is for that SWAT team? 1 mile and 30 minutes?
I would put that women's, I don't know who I would bet on, that women's SWAT team from Chile or these guys, because I don't see them making over that first obstacle either. But again, here, and then we have the one dude that's on roids, and you're like, just looking at him, you can be like, he could be on roids. He's probably up on some testosterone and creatines and all the things. But then you see the video and you're like, oh, tell me I'm on steroids without telling me I'm on steroids. Go ahead and push play.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I've been down there at the PD all day.
Just screaming on that vest.
Lexington was notified. They refused to respond because how it called.
That sheriff's lieutenant said Lexington police were notified and did not respond.
Okay, I don't know who the said that. First of all, sir, I know you're the chief.
Stop. So this one dude pipes up, this lieutenant, the guy that I think is probably taking lots of medications to enhance his performances, but he says something, and this chief just immediately is like, now who the fuck are you, and runs and gets up in this dude's face again. This guy he needs to get blasted, to be honest. This police chief is embarrassing. I would have it'd been hard for, well, actually, you know what, in uniform I'm a different person. I'm the type of guy that would be like, hey, everybody get back in your cars right now. Like, we're not doing this. Like, this is not happening. Everybody get back in your cars. We can go and take this behind closed doors, take your body cameras off, and we can handle this in a gym somewhere. We are not doing this out here on planet Mars. So he gets in this guy's face, and this is how this guy responds. Hit play.
First of all, sir, I know you're the chief. I'm just telling you, I don't appreciate all of this going on and nobody notified me thing about it. Okay. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Now this lieutenant, this meathead lieutenant, he does the right thing here. He's like, everybody get the fuck away. Like, we're walking away. Perfect. Everybody's literally walking by the car. And this chief is following him like it's a fight. Like he's some kind of a thug ghetto San Francisco fucking street shitter chasing this dude down. He's like, wait a minute, hey, who are you? What's your name?
So is that little bitch made cop. This is his body cam. That little fucking fairy.
Oh yeah, he's the little wiener dog that's like,
oh my god, dude.
That's embarrassing.
And
listen, this like this roided out meathead, and I don't say roided out meathead in a bad way. Listen, I think if you're a cop, you should have every opportunity to make yourself as lethal and deadly as possible. So when shit is for, I mean, this is the dude I want to come and save me. So listen, again, you have to have thick skin, especially if you're one of these Oklahoma guys listening to this. All kudos to you. And he tries to do the right thing, but then the testosterone kicks in. Go ahead, push play. I love this, by the way.
Sir, I am too. You're not going to talk about chief like that, sir.
You don't have to talk to my chief that way, sir.
It gets in his face.
That's not going to happen. You can get the out of my face. I don't give a who you are. Okay? This is my county, too.
Back up, man. Back up.
It's Marcus Luttrell.
According to the call,
You need to stop.
Lexington PD was notified.
Chill out. Back up. Everything's going to be okay. But you need to back up.
I get it that
Dude, he's wearing pit vipers.
Negative.
Bro.
this right here ain't what it is.
We're not going to be disrespectful here. Okay?
Sheriff, you need to back up out of my face, sir.
You have no authority.
You're not going to tell me what to do, my. You're not going to get in my sheriff's face. Just like you told me.
Your hands off me, man. Back up, John.
Pull him back. No, he just came up in my face and said the same.
Go to jail.
Stop.
He's getting ready to go to jail.
Stop.
Both of you need to back off. This is our operation. This is our county. Understand?
Oh, yeah. Perfectly clear.
Go 10-8.
Perfectly clear.
Go 10-8.
Come on.
Look at this dude's attire. Is he wearing like a stainless steel pistol? Hold on, stop. This cowboy's wearing a stainless steel pistol. Did you see that?
Oh my God. Dude.
Get the fuck out of here.
That, and this is all because that fucking cop
Maybe not.
on
Maybe
the traffic stop. That cop on the traffic stop is so fucking butthurt that the sheriff was going to a call and pretty much told him to go fuck off. And he followed his chief around trying to get justice. Like, he was so mad. And that's when you take the job too fucking personally, dude.
Dude, so now there is some beef with these two departments. I guess the sheriff's department's coming down on Lexington Police Department because they manage the shelter for all the dogs, and they were accused of shooting the dogs every 72 hours. If the dog was there longer than 72 hours, they would shoot the dog because they didn't have the drugs appropriate to put the dogs down. I don't have a problem with that, but they were saying that there was inhumane conditions, that the dogs were living in their own piss and feces. And so there's an article out of it's the Lexington Animal Shelter. If you want to look this up, what's the name of this website, Josh?
This is from news9.com in Oklahoma.
News9.com. You can read the whole Lexington Animal Shelter debacle. And so that's where a lot of the animosity comes between the sheriffs and the police department was out of this case. But again, this is a battle of egos, and this whole thing, you're not going to talk to my sheriff this way. Listen, if I have a sheriff that can't defend himself, I don't want to work under him. Like, I would be the guy that would be like, well, okay, sheriff, listen, you want to throw fists? If that's what you want to do, go for it. I'll back you up when somebody else tries to jump in. But like, I don't. What is with these two sheriffs and police trying to?
Well, somebody hit the comments. Somebody hit the comments. Somebody said, "Don't talk to my daddy like that." That's the vibe I was getting.
Yes, my dad will beat your dad up.
Don't talk to my
daddy. Don't say that. Hey, you'll say that.
I think that was an opportune time for him to show that he wanted to kiss some ass. So he knew the sheriff's not going to get mad at him for defending his honor. So he was like, I'm going to take this opportunity to look tough. But that also could have been a situation where everybody there knew no one was going to do anything. No one was going to throw a blow. Yeah. Yeah. Armory Knight says we need to get Tansy and cowboy hats and dusters. Listen, you guys started throwing some super chats. Last time y'all super chatted $900, and I've had a mullet now for over a year because of that. You guys super chat the money for cowboy hats, and we will do. I'll fucking do 100 shows in a cowboy hat with Ant if you guys send the money to buy cowboy hats. So you send the super chats, and they add up in the next couple of weeks. And we'll buy some cowboy hats in solidarity with the Oklahoma Sheriff's Department here, the Lexington Sheriff's Department. Now, I don't know what you are. Are you team sheriffs in this, or are you team police in this? I'm sheriff all the way. Listen. Should he have been doing 85 and into 55? Maybe not without license sirens. All right, but it's the fucking sheriff. Are you going to risk everything? Are you going to? That's like me being 10 years old and trying to police my dad, right? We don't police the sheriff. There's other entities out there like the citizens that police the sheriff, or the governor, God forbid, right? There's other things. The local street cop doesn't that's just like someone trying to do a citizen's arrest on you as a cop. As a street cop trying to police the sheriff, it's the same concept. I have more authority over you. There's a process for this. You don't get to just break authority when you feel like you want to. So I'm from the get-go, I feel like the city cop was in the wrong 100%. And then, you know, the sheriff ultimately has a say in it, and he doesn't have to fucking tell the municipality what they're doing, especially because the sheriff's office might be the one investigating a municipality. Probably would go to the state entity of some sort, but it's possible because there's an old myth here in Florida, and I don't think it's ever been put into practice, but a sheriff can have one of his deputies go and replace a chief of police under his authority. He can send a deputy, and a deputy comes and says, by the order of the sheriff of this county, I am now relieving you of your command. I am taking over as a leg of the sheriff. That shit's wild to me. You don't think that'll start a fist fight?
SWAT team, the Raleigh SWAT team, went up to, I think it was Henderson County, and did a search warrant and took down and arrested their chief or something, or maybe their sheriff. I can't remember the whole story. But it does happen. It does happen. Ex Fulcanator sent us $2 to super chat for the hats, so we'll put that in the hat fund. Deadleg, make sure you put that $2 to the cowboy hat fund. We'll collect that money over the next week or so if anybody cares enough about it.
I want to see Anthony in a cowboy hat, but you can't let him pick it. Don't let him pick it, because he's gonna pick some fucking fashionable cowboy hat where he looks least retarded in.
Yeah, I want to get something good for him. And Bosco says, was the chief of police in the cowboy hat? Well, the sheriff was in a cowboy hat, and the chief was in a black cowboy hat, and the sheriff was in a white cowboy hat. So really, I mean, just so poetic. So poetic here. Oh, another $2 super chat coming in. Should have been a cowboy. Thanks, Vulcanator. You're the bomb. Thank you guys. Michael Dutra says, see, we do need those community health people that ride with cops. LOL. Yeah, if they would have had one of those community health workers, they could have mediated and de-escalated.
That's what we should break down next week. I know we're talking in front of everybody, but I don't want to forget. Did you see that case where a social worker was taken hostage?
Yeah. So it happened in Raleigh too. And a Raleigh officer called me and he said, listen, dude, I have this case and I think I want to get you to talk about it. But one of these social services workers went to go do a regular police job. She was dragged inside of the house, pistol whipped, and fucking sexually assaulted and let it go. And anyway, I was trying to like doing it, but I couldn't even get a hold of the report. And he tried to get the report. And I think he's the one that was on the case and wrote like a supplement to it, but it was locked out. The report was locked. So he couldn't get a copy of it, which means, you know, that's like some kind of IA investigation or something like that. But, you know, I still to this day, because that was like 2 years ago, I think that they locked that report because they didn't want the media to get a hold of it in any way, shape, or form, because they know this is a fucking stupid and terrible idea to send social workers into. Yeah, we can break that down. Ghost Malone, EDC, Everyday Carry says, Huckleberry Hound versus Quick Draw McGraw, Rumble on the surface of Mars. Who will take the belt? Who has a bigger wiener? Find out next week for the champion title. We need to get all those guys from what is that? The Crispy Donut, Everyday Carry, and Ghost Malone. We need to get some of those guys on our Patreon shows and do an episode with those guys. I'll be out of town all this week, but yeah, listen. If you're a first responder out there listening, you know, don't get in a fight with the firefighters. We don't need to have pissing matches against each other. Grow up, take a slice of humble pie, and you know, just kind of let things go and handle it behind closed doors. There's always an opportunity to handle a situation. Bosco Autry throwing $5 out. Whiskey for my Wolfpack, beer for my horses. So that's like $10 now for the hat fund. Set that aside, Josh Deadleg. Put that $10 aside for cowboy hats, if you would. Captain Simpson, a bunch of laugh faces, been up in the chats all day, so we really appreciate you guys. Well, I mean, that's all I've got. I know we're going to do this Patreon thing here shortly. So if you guys want to follow us over on Patreon, you can jump over to Patreon. I'll be over there in about 30, 45 minutes to break down this whole Joe Biden thing. So you guys stay frosty out there. You got anything Refracted Wolf Apparel out there?
Nope. Just the best graphic tees money can buy, baby. And if you want
I love my dancing TikTok shops. And I want another Be Confrontational shirt because my son stole my Be Confrontational shirt.
Yeah, I'll send you one. We just restocked on everything. We were out of a lot of larges and common sizes, but we just restocked and it'll be up by Sunday. I don't know when it'll hit the website, but I'm actually packaging orders by hand right now. So yeah, and use promo code anti-hero for 15% off.
All right, so that's refractedwolfapparel.com.
Yeah, you can find it on Anti-Hero shares all their stuff. It's linked on our Anti-Hero page. So
wait, am I wearing an anti-hero shirt? No, I'm not. I was yesterday. I'm wearing a red pill thread shirt now. I was wearing the anti-hero dancing TikTok cop shirt yesterday. All right, man. Well, for myself, from Tyler, the Anti-Hero Podcast, this has been another Failure to Stop case breakdown. Head over to the Patreon and catch up on some last call unfiltered news. We will be back with you guys on Monday. Monday we are going to have a fill-in show, another true crime special, because it's my wife's birthday and I'm taking her to the mountains. And so we'll have a pre-recorded Monday show. But we'll see you guys Tuesday for true crime. Wednesday, we'll still have a last call for Wednesday sports news. And then we had a big Super Bowl show yesterday with Boston Joe and myself. Tailgate Legends Reunite. If you guys don't know, Tailgate Legends is where I got my podcasting career started with the Drinking Bros Podcast Network. I ran that show for over almost 2 years, the sports show. And then that's how I got into podcasting. And so it was fun to reunite with my original host, Boston Joe, and to go on Illegal Shift right here on the Fair Stop Podcast channel, which is sports news on Thursdays. So if you guys want to catch up on everything that you need to know about the Super Bowl this weekend, so you don't sound like an ignoramus at the Super Bowl party, go over there and give that a listen. For myself and Tyler, guns up and giddy up. Take us out, Josh.